control room hums with a sterile pulse, a cathedral of flickering screens and muted beeps where the vastness of space whispers its secrets. I slouch in my chair, the only sound the monotonous tick of the clock marking the late hour and the distant drone of the air conditioning. A mechanical heartbeat in this forsaken outpost of human ambition. It's well past midnight, the time when the last of my colleagues typically drifts away, their goodbyes fading into echoes lost to memory. Here I remain, tethered to the console by a mix of dedication and the hollow truth that I have nowhere else to go. As a communications analyst at the Space Agency's Control Center, my role is to monitor the ceaseless stream of data from missions scattered across the cosmos. Mostly automated drones now, their sterile pings a lullaby of routine. The room glows dimly, bathed in the soft blue light of monitors displaying graphs, satellite trajectories, and the endless dance of numbers that translate the universe's language into something we can grasp. This is the heart of the agency, where space talks back through crackles and chirps, and my job, part cosmic translator, part sentinel, is to listen, interpret, and report any anomalies. Usually, it's a calm vigil, a tapestry of patterns and predictability woven into the fabric of my nights. But not tonight. My eyelids droop, heavy with exhaustion, as I stare blankly at the screen, the data a blur of familiar shapes. Then, a signal breaks the silence. A sharp crackle, followed by a steady beep that rises in volume, demanding attention like a voice from the void. I sit up, alertness flooding my veins, and scoot my chair closer to the dashboard, the wheels squeaking against the tiled floor. This isn't the gentle hum of background noise I've grown accustomed to. It's a jagged line slicing through the smooth arcs of routine data, a wound in the expected order. I glance at the clock, 11:58 p.m., and consider calling it a night, but curiosity grips me, a relentless hand at my collar. My hands move with purpose, tracing the signal's origin with the precision of a hunter tracking prey. It emanates from the Mars Belt, a region I know well from years of monitoring, but that's not what sets my pulse racing. It's the signature human, not the cold, automated pings of a drone. Mark Haie, I whisper to myself, the name slipping out like a prayer, though I know it's impossible. Mark Haie was a legend, an astronaut whose solo mission to Mars was meant to blaze a trail for humanity's future on the Red Planet. 6 months into his year-long expedition, all communication ceased, and 5 years have passed since the control room last heard his voice. The agency declared him presumed dead after exhaustive search and rescue missions found nothing, attributing his silence to a catastrophic failure, perhaps a dust storm shredding his equipment or a critical system collapsing, leaving him stranded in the Acidalia Planitia, a vast Martian plain promising flat terrain and potential water sources. Yet here, on this screen, his call sign pulses with life, a ghost resurrected from the red dust. My heart thunders in my chest, a drumbeat echoing the adrenaline surging through me, and a shiver races down my spine, prickling my skin despite the room's controlled temperature. I stand, drawing a deep breath to steady myself, and pace the room, my footsteps a soft rhythm against the linoleum. This could be a glitch, a cruel prank, or some inexplicable anomaly. Possibilities tumble through my mind like stones down a cliff. I should report it, alert the chain of command, but something holds me back, an instinctual hesitation that roots me to the spot. It's not a satellite, not a scheduled transmission. The screen displays coordinates and a timestamp years out of date, a relic from a mission long abandoned. Hey, Alex, come take a look at this. I call, my voice cutting through the hum as I beckon to my colleague, who lingers by the observation window, a coffee mug steaming in his hands. He saunters over, curiosity piqued, and peers over my shoulder, his breath catching as he recognizes the signal. Isn't that from the Mars Pathfinder? He murmurs, his voice trailing off as our eyes lock, both of us thinking of Mark Haie, the astronaut we all believed had been claimed by Mars' unforgiving terrain. I click on the audio file attached to the transmission, and the room falls silent, anticipation thickening the air like fog. Mark's voice fills the space, clear yet distant, an echo from a time capsule. Control, this is Pathfinder, Day 23. Do you read? The words hang, a lifeline cast across years, and the room seems to hold its breath. A younger analyst, Lisa, rises abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor with a grating sound that shatters the stillness. "This can't be right. Mark Hayes It's been years," she stammers, her voice a cocktail of fear and awe, her wide eyes reflecting the monitor's glow. I respond, striving to maintain a professional tone. "Let's not jump to conclusions. Could be a delayed signal, an old message bouncing back from something out there." But my hands tremble slightly as I cue up the next recording, the lie tasting bitter on my tongue. Alex nods, though his skepticism is palpable, his eyes fixed on the screen. But that doesn't explain the new data packets attached. "This is live. Somehow," he says, his voice tight with tension. The station chief, Commander Evans, strides into the room, her presence a force of nature, her no-nonsense demeanor cutting through the commotion. "Report," she demands, her voice brisk as a winter wind. I stand, facing her. "We've received a transmission from Mark Hayes' ship, the Pathfinder. It's impossible, but it's happening." Her steely gaze sweeps over the data, unyielding. "Get me authentication on that signal, stat, and prep the comms room. We need to analyze every byte of this transmission." Her orders snap like a flag in a storm, and the team leaps into action. A flurry of movement as I wonder what befell Mark in the void, and why, after all this time, he reaches out now. The cursor hovers over the play button for the next audio file, and I glance around, sensing the weight of the moment. We're all aware that what we're about to hear could unravel everything we thought we knew about Mark Hayes' fate. I click play, and we lean in, the static a hiss like waves on a quiet shore, before Mark's voice emerges. "Control, this is Pathfinder, reporting in for what should be day 214. He begins, his tone steady but laced with an undercurrent that hints at sleepless nights. "You might find this hard to believe, but I've just witnessed the most extraordinary sunset here on Mars. The sky turned shades I never knew existed. It's beautiful." His voice carries a wonder that's infectious, and we exchange glances, silently acknowledging the surreal nature of his message. "But that's not why I'm transmitting," he continues, a hesitation creeping into his tone. "After the sunset, there was something else. I don't know how to describe it. I saw figures, not reflections, not shadows, but figures. They were just silhouettes against the horizon, and before I could approach, they vanished. It was like nothing I've ever seen." His voice cracks, a fracture in his composure, and he adds, "I'm sending this along with some data I've collected. I'm not sure what's happening here, but I'm going to get to the bottom of it. Pathfinder out." The transmission ends abruptly, leaving a heavy silence in its wake, a void that presses against us. We sit, the air charged with intrigue and apprehension, knowing this could be the product of a deep space delusion or evidence of something beyond our understanding. I hit the play button on the next transmission, and Mark's voice returns, rougher now, as if worn by time and isolation. "Day 225, he starts, a pause hanging like a held breath. "I'm hearing things," he admits, a vulnerability in those words that's new, alien. "It's probably just the habitat settling, or my own echoes bouncing off the inside of this tin can I call home." A forced chuckle follows, hollow and devoid of humor. "But it's odd," he confesses, his voice tightening. "It sounds almost like whispers. At first, I thought it was just the wind, the natural sounds of Mars they briefed us about, but this is different. It's like someone is speaking, just low enough that I can't make out the words. Always just out of reach, just beyond my understanding." The transmission crackles, a brief interruption that amplifies the tension, and he continues, "I've gone over the equipment, triple-checked the seals. There's no breach, no logical reason for these sounds. The life support systems are all green, no sign of external transmissions." A pause stretches, heavy with his unspoken fears, before he adds, "I know the psyche valves, the drills. They warned us about space's tricks, the ways the mind can turn on itself when you're the only living thing for millions of miles. I'm not giving into it, but I had to log this. It's part of the protocol. If it's nothing, then it's just a curiosity for the folks back home. If it's not, Then it's on record. The recording ends, leaving an echo that lingers, and we sit in shared silence, each lost in our thoughts. The practical part of me wants to dismiss it as the strain of solitude, the mind filling the silence with phantoms, but another part, a part I'm loath to acknowledge, wonders if there's more to Mark's words, something lurking in Mars' red shadows. Lisa breaks the silence, her voice a soft whisper mirroring the very thing Mark described. "He's alone out there," she says, more to herself than to us. Imagine what that kind of silence, that kind of isolation, could do to you. Her eyes are wide, reflecting the monitor's glow, her fingers twisting a strand of hair in a nervous tick. Alex lets out a slow, measured breath, as if to steady himself. "Whispers," he says. "It's got to be psychological. The guy's been up there too long, and the mind starts to play tricks. It's textbook. He's trying to inject logic, a life raft for us to cling to," and I nod, attempting to latch onto his rational explanation. "Yeah, space psychosis. I agree," though my conviction wavers, a tremor in my hands betraying my doubt. Commander Evans remains silent, her gaze fixed on the frozen waveform on the screen, her expression unreadable. "We need to consider all possibilities," she finally says, her voice steady but laced with concern. "And we need to keep this confidential for now. The last thing we need is a panic." We move on to the next recording, day 230. Mark's voice rough around the edges, as if he hasn't slept. "The shadows outside the hab, they don't look right. Angles are all wrong in the sunrise. It's like they're bending in ways that don't make sense. I know it's just rocks, has to be, but man, it's like my brain's trying to make them into something else." A pause stretches, and I can almost picture him staring out the small windows of his habitat, squinting against the light of a distant sun. "I've been working hard, long days, not much to break them up. It's probably just fatigue. Yeah, got to be fatigue messing with my sight." The control room is quiet, all of us listening so intently it feels like we're there with him. "I mean, I did all those tests, right? The ones before I left, the doc said I was solid. But they didn't say what happens when you're the only guy on a whole planet, trying to figure out if you're seeing things or if it's real." He laughs, but it's not happy. It's the kind of laugh that says he's clinging to sanity. "I'll do some extra checks on the habitat systems, make sure everything's tight and right. Can't have Mars dust getting in and mucking things up. That stuff's fine like powder. Gets everywhere." You can hear him moving in the background, likely checking those systems, his voice a lifeline to his routine. "But hey, let's not get all gloomy here. I got a job to do and I'm doing it. This is just part of the deal, right? Being out here, pushing boundaries. Sometimes you push back on your own mind a bit." Another pause, longer this time, and when he speaks again, his voice softens. "I'm going to sign off for now. Got to keep on schedule, keep the routine. That's what keeps you going, that and thinking about getting back home. So yeah, Pathfinder out." The recording ends, and the control room falls quiet, the echo of his words a haunting refrain. I press play on the next recording, day 230 again, as if time loops in his isolation. "The shadows outside the hab, they don't look right. Angles are all wrong in the sunrise." He repeats, a pause waiting his words. "I've walked this surface 100 times, charted every rock and every incline. But this morning, there's something off. It's like the rocks have moved overnight, except there's no trace of movement, no disruption in the dust that covers everything." A rustling sound follows, perhaps him adjusting his equipment, and he continues. "The shadows stretch out in ways that don't make sense. Too long here, too short there, as if the light's bending around them. I know it's just rocks. It's Mars. There's nothing else here but rocks and dust." His attempt at reassurance sounds hollow, even to us listening miles and years away. "But sleep has been hard to come by. Plays with the eye. The hab sensors are all green, no external breaches, no internal failures." His voice turns methodical, running down the checklist of a seasoned space traveler. "I ran diagnostics on my suit too, recalibrated the visor just to be sure. Everything checks out." He sighs, a sound that carries the weight of the red planet itself. "I'll keep monitoring the situation. Maybe it's a natural phenomenon I haven't encountered yet. Mars is still full of secrets, after all. A determined note returns, the explorer's spirit that drove him to this mission, and the transmission ends with a click. In the control room, we're left with the echo of his words and the profound silence that follows. Commander Evans stands, her face a mask of stone, but her voice is calm. We need to consider all possibilities, including the psychological impact of prolonged isolation. Hai was alone out there longer than anyone before him. Lisa's voice is small when she speaks next. Could it be some kind of space psychosis, sensory deprivation? It happens, right? With that, we press play on the next recording, day 235, and Mark's tone is stripped of its usual composure. There's something moving out there. I swear, he begins, his next words punctuated by a sharp intake of breath that makes the hair on my neck stand on end. It's not just noises anymore. It's scratching, like something's clawing at the habitat walls. His voice cracks, a fracture in his resolve. The communication system is down. I've tried to send distress signals, but there's just dead air coming back. I'm cut off, he says, his words heavy with realization. I'm not alone on this planet. A whisper follows, as if he fears being overheard. I can't shake the feeling. During the day, it's just a nagging thought. But when the sun sets, it becomes a certainty. He pauses, and we can almost hear him pondering his next words. I've double-checked the airlocks, ran diagnostics on every system. This habitat is sealed. Nothing's getting in or out. Another pause, a moment of introspection, before his voice tightens. I know how this sounds. I can hear the disbelief that would be in your voices if you could respond. I'm keeping the cameras rolling, recording everything. If you guys are hearing this, if these logs are making it back home, then maybe you'll see something I've missed. The transmission ends, leaving an uncomfortable silence, the glow of monitors casting eerie shadows across the room. Then Mark's voice fills the space again. Day 240. They're outside, figures in the dark, he says, the words sending a chill down my spine. I can see them moving when the sun sets. His voice strains for rationality. I've checked the systems, there's no malfunction. The external cams show nothing, but I know what I saw. It's like they know when I'm watching. They disappear whenever I try to get a visual. The transmission crackles, a brief interruption that makes us jump, then returns with the sound of his ragged breathing. I'm keeping the lights on now all the time. It's the only way I can keep them at bay. We exchange uneasy glances, the team and I, no one wanting to voice the fear creeping into our thoughts. They don't make a sound, not really. It's more like a feeling, a pressure I can sense whenever they're close. Mark says, I tried to go out to confront them, but the door, I couldn't open it. Maybe it's a safety feature, or maybe it's them keeping me in. The frustration in his voice is palpable, and we sit in silence as the transmission ends. Commander Evans is quiet, her fingers steepled in front of her lips. Play the rest, she commands. Day 242 begins. His voice so quiet we all lean in closer. The whispers are getting louder, he says, as if afraid to break the silence himself. At night, it's as if the whispers are coming from the walls themselves. The words are slow, careful, as if there's someone else here, speaking in a language that sounds familiar but I just can't understand it. It's driving me crazy. A break follows, and we hear him take a deep, shaky breath. I've started whispering back. He continues, the idea sending chills through the room. I try to talk to them, whoever they are. I ask questions, even though it feels weird talking to the walls. There's never an answer, but I get this feeling, this really strong feeling, that whatever it is, it's listening to me. Day 244 follows, his voice even more strained. It's getting harder to sleep now. Every time I close my eyes, I feel like they're right there, just on the other side of the wall. I can't see them, but I sense them, like a cold spot in the air, a change in pressure. I keep the lights on, cycle through day and night, but it doesn't help. The whispers don't stop. A sound of rustling papers interrupts, and he adds, I've mapped out the sounds, recorded where they're the loudest, trying to find a pattern. But there's nothing, no reason to it, just noise that's almost words. It's like trying to listen to a conversation through a thick door. Today, I spent hours just listening, pressing my ear to the cold metal, trying to discern a single intelligible word. His voice cracks, a vulnerability emerging. Sometimes I shout back, challenging the void to answer me, but there's only silence. And then, when I'm about to give up, the whispers return. The logical part of me knows it's just my mind looking for company, for any sign I'm not alone. But there's another part, a part one can't silence, that wonders if there's more out there, something watching and waiting. He pauses, the silence heavy. I'm setting up more recorders tonight, trying to capture whatever this is. If it's just me, if I'm just losing it, then so be it. But if it's not, if there's something to this, I need evidence. I'll sign off for now. I need to save power for the recorders, and frankly, talking like this, it's using up oxygen I can't afford to waste. The room falls silent, suffocatingly so, as I brace myself to play the final recording. My finger hovers over the button, the air thick with a collective dread that presses down on us. I press play, and the sound that bursts forth is raw, unfiltered terror. Mark's screams claw their way out of the speakers, filling the room, filling my head until I think I can't take it anymore. It's a sound no training can prepare you for, the primal fear of a man facing the end alone. Lisa's voice trails off into a gasp, her hand flying to her mouth in shock. What the... she begins, unable to finish. The screams twist into pleas, Mark's voice begging, bargaining with unseen forces, with the universe itself for a reprieve. Please, no. I can do more. I'm not ready. His words are desperate, disjointed, half-formed and laced with panic. Then, abruptly, there's laughter. Not the sound of joy or even sanity, but the sound of a mind teetering on the abyss, pushed too far. It's all a joke, right? A grand cosmic joke. Mark's voice is manic, unhinged, and I reach out, lowering the volume, my hand shaking. We shouldn't be listening to this. I murmur, but no one moves to stop the recording. It's as if we're caught in the gravitational pull of the disaster unfolding before us. The next part is a jumble of sounds, the wrenching of metal, the hiss of escaping air, and Mark's voice again, calmer now, a fatalistic edge to his words. The hull's breached. I can see the stars, they're beautiful. His voice is almost serene amidst the chaos. I guess this is it, huh? Alex stands abruptly, knocking his chair over. Turn it off, he says. We don't need to hear anymore. But the recording plays on, and Mark's voice drops to a whisper, filling the room, filling the silence left by our held breaths. Tell my family I love them. Tell them I was thinking of them until the end. And I'm sorry, so sorry. The room falls silent as the recording ends, not with a bang but with the softest of whimpers, a silence louder than all the screams. Lisa's chair scrapes against the floor as she stands, her movements robotic. I need a minute, she says, and I watch her escape the room, her composure breaking with each step. In the aftermath, the control room feels like a tomb, the haunting finality of his last words lingering like a specter no amount of busy work or mission debriefs can exorcise. I sit motionless, my hands lying flat on the console, a numbness spreading from the tips of my fingers to the core of my chest. A defense mechanism, perhaps, against the reality of what we've witnessed. The final moments of a man who faced the unknown with both humor and terror, revealing the essence of humanity in his solitude. Have you ever felt the chill of a mystery that defies explanation? Or wondered if you could endure the silence of the cosmos alone? This tale might be for you if you dare to listen to the whispers from the red planet's shadows.